Hi everyone, my name is Ashutosh Soni. I did my bachelor's in technology from IIT Bhilai. I was part of the 2018 batch and graduated with honors this summer in May 2022. Currently, I am doing my PhD in the Ohio State University in the US. So basically, while like I mentioned that I was doing my BTech honors in my previous college, so that course was basically focused on doing research. So as I was doing research in my third and fourth year, I thought that PhD track would be a good option in terms of career. So I started with like in my second year, I started doing some research internships like in IISc. So that gave me like some exposure to what research is. So from my second summer onwards, I tried to give some time to research, and that was something that like inclined me towards to like taking the BTech honors course, converting my BTech degree into honors, and like with support with my advisors like Dr. Arzat Khirani and Dr. Shrijit. I liked doing research, and that was one of the motivations to do like to think about doing a PhD and think about doing a PhD abroad, majorly, yeah. So this question is one of the most important questions, actually, more important than whether you want to do a PhD or MS or a job. This question just talks about how do you know what you want to do. So it's something that every student faces in one of the 4 years. It just depends on when does that particular idea hits in and when it starts getting like troublesome. So for me, like because I started talking to some of the seniors like in my second year who were like interested in research and already thinking about applying for higher studies. So I just got fascinated that like anyone would get fascinated that okay, so that person is going to the US or the UK. So like anyone will get fascinated by that idea, even if you don't want to do that. You'll get interested and you'll ask. So I started interacting with some of them, and they mentioned that it's really important that it can vary for everyone. Someone can decide to do something in their third year or like in the first year or in the second year, but if you're going for a PhD track, you or even for a job, just have to maybe decide on your like towards the end of your second semester, towards the end of your second year. And that was something advised by my seniors, and I found that really helpful in my personal life and statistically as well. It's because when like you're done with your courses in your 4 semesters, you get an idea that okay, will these courses like will you be able to do something useful with your core courses and go for something like a core job or not. In that case, you'll think about doing a coding job, but then you have 2 years of experience of thinking about will that be a helpful thing or not. So I would just say in a nutshell that be it anything, be it a coding job, be it a research project or anything, you just have to give around 5 to 6 months to that particular thing to be able to understand that whether it fits for you or not. If not, move on, do the next thing, give 5 6 months to it, but don't keep on doing 2 or 3 things at the same time for short interval of time and then see that the results are not coming. So I'll not do this, because then you'll see that the results are not coming consistently for any of those options. So it's about time that you give to it, and then have the expectation that okay, if I'm good or not. So actually, that is one of the most important questions that any student who is like trying to go abroad, trying to think about studying abroad, thinks about, and like a lot of thought goes into it, into deciding which one of those is actually better for you. So while I was in my like end of second year, I talked to a lot of seniors, especially the ones who have already been studying in the US or in the Europe or in the UK. So I got to know that it's like you have to understand what's the demands of a PhD student and what's the demand of an MS student. Also, what is like what is expected of you in that journey. Like an MS student is not expected to do the same thing as a PhD student. So first of all, you need to understand why do you want to do that particular course. So it's not like doing a BTech, which we do not think about much and then just go into it and then think, okay, I'll evolve my courses and my understanding towards my interest later on. But in this case, you first understand why do you have to do it. So in my case, it was like I always thought that I'll like if I'm doing an higher education degree, then I'll surely do something which is like in-depth research, or like even if I'm going for a master's degree, I knew that at some point I will have to do a PhD because that's what interests me. So I was like, if I need to go do that indirectly, why not do it directly? Because like in the US or in the Europe, this track is really very popular, that you do bachelor's from your country and then directly go into a PhD degree. So that was my understanding. So that is one of the interesting questions here. Like, what's the difference in terms of academics and what's the difference in terms of your social outgoing? So first, talking about academics, it's uh, being experienced to the culture in IIT Bhilai, I can say that things are a bit more hard and comprehensive here. Like if there are courses which are like already planned out for the entire semester with dates for exact quizzes, exact assignments, and everything is laid out in the first day. So it's like the entire course has been, because it has been running for like years. It's like 157-year-old university. So everything has been laid out pretty well. So in that sense, it's like really comprehensive, but not comparing the BTech degree to an MS or PhD degree. I would say that masters and PhD are in itself, they have to be comprehensive and they have to be harder than the previous level because they are a bit level up. So in that sense, the course content or the level of the exams and all is, you'll feel it that it's hard. Talking about the social changes that I felt, so this is a new country, right? So when we first came here, we knew that things are gonna be different than India in terms of culture, in terms of social life. But I would surely say that the kind of life that we had in our hostels, the kind of unity, the kind of interaction, everyday interaction, just buzzing into your friend's room and then chit-chatting for hours, that seems to be slightly missing, more than slightly missing, because things are like uh, people are not really outgoing, like for they don't really go to a friend's place every day because there's no hostel concept here. So it's like you live in apartments. So because you live in apartments, yeah, it's kind of similar to doing a job where you live in apartments. But the kind of life that we had in hostels, like playing badminton every day, you can really do anything. Like you just have to gather some friends and that was it. The night was it. So that's something you need to plan here, that okay, I'll call my friends and then let's see what time fix up. So you have to talk about timings and appointments. So it's something that is different, and that is not a positive difference, it's like a negative difference. I like the way it was in our hostel. So yeah. So as I said, I was not really sure that I'll just focus on the PhD track or just focus on the PhD slash PhD MS track. I was kind of thinking that okay, I'll have an backup option in terms of job, and that is pretty much everyone does it. They have a backup job in case the application is not accepted. They'll try again next year, but meanwhile they have a job to be involved in. So in that case, I actually focused on both of them. I sat in the placements, even though I was not really prepared to go for the top tier companies, but I was like, I'll go for the middle ones, and I should be able to get it. So in my case, how did I manage my time? First of all, like if you're going for a coding job, you have to be prepared for like before 3 or 4 months. You have to start preparing for your interviews, and you have to like solve questions almost every day. And because 3 months period is something that's like really important. If you're not prepared around 3 months, you're not gonna do it in the last month or last weeks, because it's gonna be hard and everyone around you will be preparing, and that creates another level of stress. So for me, it was like I knew that I need to do it. So I planned my things beforehand, that I should be able to manage my applications, and my application management should not collapse with coincide with the placement activities. So I planned them accordingly. It's kind of hectic because both kind of overlaps, but you can try to do it. You can try to keep things apart and then focus on one thing at a time. But while you're filling your application, just fill your application timely, properly, submit it, and then focus on your job placements if you're doing that. Yeah. So actually there was a lot of thoughts. I was not really sure that I need to do a PhD, because it's something, yeah, that is unexplored, right? It works for someone, it does not work for someone else. So it's just like you're not sure that will it work for you. So because I was majorly interested in research, so I had this option that I can do research in some other companies as well, like Samsung or something else in the R&D team. But for that particular reason, I thought that I can do an industry job rather than a PhD. Uh, and there was also one other consideration that like your like PhD is really involving, because it's like 5 years of your time and energy and everything. Literally being far from your country, be far from your family, it takes really a lot of things from you. So are you like going to take that thing in your life, or like you don't want it? So because job is relatively easier thing, because you can get it like with probably 4 months or 5 months of medium to rigorous coding, and the salary will be decent. So the money part of it was also into consideration, that okay, you'll get paid in the PhD, but it's like the expenses are also around the same, so it's not like a job properly. But then I thought that it's not really important what I'm going to do in the short run, because I did not imagine myself doing like back end or front end jobs 24/7 for like 10 years down the line. So I was thinking in that sense, that after 10 years, will I still like the job that I'm gonna apply for? So the answer that I felt was no. And then I thought that okay, then PhD is a much better option. So, because everyone in our families and everything, they think that extracurricular activities are not something to be given importance to. But as students ourselves, we understand that apart from studies, we have like our entire day to spend on what? And we have a lot of stress of our exams and everything, all the competition, jobs, career prospects, thinking about these. And it's really important to have something that you can go to de-stress yourself. It can be singing, it can be dancing, it can be anything. And in IIT Bhilai we had a lot of clubs. So I particularly liked singing, so I was in the singing club Swara for a lot of time, like 4 years. I was also in the literary part of it, the goals part of it. I liked speaking and debating and discussing stuff. So those two things were like kind of de-stressing for me. And I would say that like for everyone there should be something, at least one thing that you can do consistently to like make yourself feel comfortable. It can be sport, it can be table tennis, or it can be anything. But I think that it's really important, if someone does not have an extracurricular activity that they like, then I guess they'll be really troubled throughout their 4 years. They'll not have something to like to have to be comfortable with, and that's something really important. So one of the most important things that is like different between applying about anything in India and doing it abroad is the prospect of doing it abroad, because you have that fear that okay, since it's another country, it won't be that simple that I will be able to do it that easily and I'll get admitted. So the fear that you're not capable is one of the major thing that stops you from doing it. And I would say that the fear of preparation, the fear of knowing the process and everything is actually is actually making it harder for students to do it than actual process is. So for me it was, I would say that the preparation process is basically, first of all, if you're going for a PhD or a master's, first of all think about it, that if you're going for a master's or if you're going for a PhD, fix it. If you're not able to fix it, that is also fine. A lot of students do apply for both of them and then see that which one of the admitted offers is better and then go for it. That's also fine. So basically, when you're preparing for it, there are certain stages to it. For example, you have to give some exams like English speaking exams like TOEFL or IELTS, and you have to give GRE. So there are two major exams which you have to give, and you have to plan your exams according to the application process. So talking about some of the technicality, the application process starts around October for the US. I'll not talk about the Europe because I am not sure about the dates and all there. So the application process starts around October in the US and it goes till December or mid-December. So it's like when you are going for your application process, you should have your exams ready before the application process. For sure you have to have your scores ready, and the scores come around like 3-4 weeks after your exams. So usually I would suggest that in your summer, in the summer of the year we are trying to apply to, you should go for your GRE exam, and after your GRE is done, after 1 month or so, go for the TOEFL exam. So your both of the exams are done. So basically GRE is a bit harder, so do that first, focus on that first, and then go for TOEFL, which just take around like 4 or 5 weeks to plan or study or prepare. Then comes the part that you have to get some LORs. So be it a master's, be it PhD, LORs are important. For PhD, it's more important than anything else because LORs are basically letters of recommendation. And for because there are so many applications in the US every year, there has to be something backing you that okay, this student has done something which stands him out. So in that sense, your LOR has to be very strong, and try to do projects, not only research projects, coding projects, or any sort of projects that can give you that opportunity to have an LOR by the advisor or by their particular faculty. Then comes the actual application process, which is not pretty hard, which is like you have to just go to the portal of that particular website and then fill all the information. Sometimes the application can be really long, but it can take 2-3 hours, but that's fine. And one of the most important things which I missed right now is that you have to make a list of which colleges you are going to apply to. That's primarily because every application is going to cost you around 8,000 rupees, 8,000 to 9,000 rupees, and not that's not something you can ignore. So probably you would just want to apply to like 5 or 10 universities because of the cost itself. So you have to do a rigorous research on which colleges are better in your discipline. Do not look at the QS rankings because those are just rankings for the entire college based on all different departments. Look at into the rankings or the type of professors they have, the H indexes of the professors they have in your particular field that you are going for, and then probably sort it and then look into it. Like give time around 1 month to make that particular list, like where are you going to apply to, and then move ahead with the application process. There are a number of YouTube channels and like a lot of content about it on the internet. So I was literally following 2-3 of them rigorously and then following all the videos that they were telling about how to make this particular list and everything. Not every video is going to help you, but it will give you an idea how to do it. So in my case, I understood that okay, you're not gonna have a particular website. Will just you can select the particular state or something and have the list of colleges in that state. That's not gonna happen because if you're going for an engineering background, it's very specific to something. So it can happen that even MIT does not have better faculty for that particular thing which you're going for, and some other college might have it, but even though you think that MIT is the best in the US. So for me, what I did was I took help of 2-3 ranking websites and then also looked into the exact specific details of the projects of those professors. So I'll just talk about the research part, because for MS it's not only about the research, so it can be for different things also. So for PhD, because you have to look into research projects, so I looked into the name of professors who were in the same field from different kinds of journals and papers on IEEE or some other websites. And then I saw that that particular professor is associated with which university, and I thought that all right, because PhD is not really upon the university, PhD is upon your advisor. So you just have to choose your advisor, that I'll work under him on this project. So you focus on the faculty. So I took the names of the faculty who were there in reputed papers and journals, and then associated them with some university, and then looked on the profile of the university as well, and then made my decision that should I go for it, or where should I rank it in my own ranking. So usually what you do is you have three sets of ranking. You have the tier one, which is like ambitious, which can include like Stanford, MIT, stuff like that, Harvard. Then you have a mid-ranger one, which is like okay, you can probably get into it, you can't probably get into it, you're not sure about it. Then comes the third part, which is safe. So safe is like you're sure that the application that you file are gonna be accepted. So because you have these three, because so that you can aim at some of the ambitious, like one or two maybe, some in the middle, and have one or two safe options, because you don't want to waste your entire thinking energy and time and money and not get any admit at all. So that is very terrible. So you should apply to some of the safe colleges. So this is how I ranked myself. So one of the best memories that I had in my college time was was during Miraz. That was Miraz 2, I guess, where we had a host performance by Swara, and I was part of that on the stage. So just to mention that I like singing a lot, and that was something like you have a lot of crowd who are like who like cheering up and everything. You're having a good time, and then you go on stage and then have a nice performance. It's like really nice. So that was one of the best memories. Also, the other day we had the DJ night in the Mirage, so that was another thing where you just dance like anything, like nothing's gonna happen tomorrow. So that was one of the best memories in terms of what I had in my college. Uh, Talking about my best memory with my faculty, so I guess it would be the treat given by our advisors, Dr. Arjat and Dr. Srijit, at the end of our BTech honors. So yeah, I guess that was something nice. We had time to chill out and talk about other things other than academic stuff, and then talk about real life things and joke about things. So that was something really fun to do with your faculty. About this advice thing, I'm not really sure that giving any general advice helps anybody, because whenever I generally seek for some advice and someone gives me like a general motivation advice that you should work hard in your life and you should do this and you should do that, I don't think that really helps me particularly. So I'll not give some advice that will be a generic one. I'll just have two major advices which I learned from my experience, and those I think are very important. So first of all, coming to an IIT, coming to any university as well, it's like it will be really intimidating, because it's not like your school where you had a fixed course, where you had like you did not have to think about what you have to choose, because there was no choice as such in terms of courses or anything else. But here you have so many types of courses, so many electives, so many career paths, and everyone is doing something or the other in their summer or something else. So it will be really intimidating for you in terms of the pressure that okay, if my friend is doing something, if my classmate is achieving something good, I should also do the same. If I'm falling behind, you'll have that insecurity and everything else, and that can pretty much stress you a lot in your initial years, or even in your placement times. So I'll say that for freshers, I'll say that if you are feeling intimidation or feeling stressed or something, it's perfectly all right. You should feel it, and you should know that you're going to feel it. That knowing part is really important. The second part is like, because it's going to be really hard for you to do a BTech. It's like it's in phases. So in the first phase, like, okay, I came to a college, it's a nice college and everything. Then you start thinking about things that, okay, do I need to get my first internship? When do I need to get my first internship? You just start to get those ideas over the time. So I'll say that a lot of people actually like don't think much of themselves, and they think that they won't be able to do it, and hence they don't try, and hence don't achieve. But I'll say that have some faith in yourself, because all the positions that are there outside are filled by someone, and he's not really exceptional. Like, most of the some positions are really exceptional, and that maybe not be meant for you, but most of the positions are not exceptional. They're just for, like, you have to work hard for it, you have to understand the requirements and then work for those particular requirements. For example, if you're going for a coding interview, you just have to know that it's not a rocket science. You have to work hard for those particular 2 or 3 topics, have some experience, and go for it. So I'll say that don't settle for less. Don't say that it's fine to get a less salaried job because I'm not good enough for it. If you feel that you are settling for less, you're doing an injustice to yourself. And I think that whenever you feel that you are settling for less, try to aim for the next thing. And I think that's what I did. So yeah.